Hi, I'm Jill.
And I'm Erin.
You're listening to Banter and Dish Podcast.
We'll share relatable stories and recipes
with a hint of humor
and a dash of delight.
I like it. Welcome to Banter and Dish Podcast. Whether you've been with us from the beginning or this is your first time, thank you so much for joining us. The format of the podcast is that we banter for a bit, then chat about an easy dish. And today's recipe is Barbecue Sesame Sweet Potatoes from BBC Good Food. Erin couldn't record this weekend, so I have a special guest with me today. This guest is very likable, but more importantly, very available to record at the last minute. And I would like to welcome Lloyd to the podcast.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, hon?
Doing well.
All right, what do you want to talk about? Oh, your hair looks really cute, honey. You got your hair cut today.
Yep, Judy cut it. Judy cut it.
Judy cut it.
She cut it.
I like the way she styled it. It's a little bit different. I think it's the best haircut I've ever seen on you since I met you.
Wow, thank you. So all the other haircuts were crap?
They weren't crap, but this one just beats them.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good haircut.
It's a really good haircut.
And she styled it up really nice. You know, like when you go and get your hair cut and they style your hair and you're like, well, I'm like, I'm never going to replicate this.
Right.
So why even try?
And you usually don't.
I do not try. But it looked nice today, right?
Yeah, it looks great. I think it's the best style you've ever had.
Remember when we were at the park? It was right before the whole COVID thing. And you took a picture of us on the park bench and the wind was blowing. My hair looks just like that.
It does.
In that picture. It looks just like it is now.
So the wind styled it just as good as Judy, you're saying?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's very, very familiar looking.
It is. I think it was blowing the other way, though. But it is very familiar looking. It was right before Wendy's birthday party.
Yeah, that's right. Because we went to the park, walked around a little bit.
And sat on a park bench, and I took our picture.
Yep.
Because you were just as adorable that day as you are right now.
Or ever.
So this is your peak right here, you're saying?
This is it. This is it.
It's all downhill
it's
from
all
here.
downhill from here. Yep.
Oh, boy.
Sadly.
I should take a picture of us then. So it looked like the wind blew it the same as Judy.
Well, I mean, Judy did a better job than the wind.
Right.
But
we can put a side-by-side picture up for the listeners and they can decide who styled it better, the wind or Judy.
I'm going to say Judy, but, the listeners can make their own decision.
That's right. Before you met me, and it's been almost 2 years, but we can talk about that in a minute. Did you ever think that you'd be on a podcast, hon?
I thought if I would ever be on a podcast, it would be more informational than this one.
Oh, thanks, honey.
Yeah.
So what's my podcast?
It's very funny and talking about easy dishes.
That's right.
Which I'm all about. If I'm ever in the kitchen, then I need an easy dish to make.
You sure do. Because before I met you, you made a lot of microwavable things.
I ate a lot of salads, though.
You did. Well, actually, speaking of before I met you, on our first date, we ended up at Target picking up a couple of things.
Yes, we did.
I mean, we had a lovely date, guys. We went on a lovely walk. We had a lovely meal. And then we somehow ended up at Target.
Well, I didn't have a car at the time, remember? So I took a bus to Squirrel Hill to meet you.
Yeah.
For dinner.
And I drove you home.
Yeah, and I was
and we were chatting about how I had never been in that Target with the big parking garage in East Liberty.
Yeah. And, well, first of all, I got in the car and I was like, wow, this is a mess.
It sure is.
Maybe I should just get on the bus, which would be a lot cleaner.
And I told you, if you got in the car and you thought it was too messy, that I would not be offended. You could just jump right out, but you wanted to spend more time with me.
I did. I didn't want the date to end so soon. So, yeah, I was like, did you ever go to the new Target?
And I said, no, I haven't.
I said, well, you want to go?
I know, and I said yes.
So we walked around Target for about an hour.
Time.
They basically were making the announcement to kick us out.
Right. And so we left. But when we were in the store, you bought a can of chili, a bag of rice that you would make in the microwave.
And then I needed cat litter, too.
No, you didn't buy the cat litter.
I know, but I needed it.
But you should have gotten it.
I know, but I didn't want to, like, to make it like, oh, hey, you want to go to Target? Let me do all my shopping while we're here. That was not my plan.
I totally wouldn't have minded, but that would have been kind of funny. So you did just get a couple items, and I think you bought me a kombucha, too, which was nice.
Yep.
Oh, and I bought a water bottle.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember when we were in the one aisle and you were popping all that stuff up? What is that thing called opposite of your elbow where your arm bends?
I think it's called the opposite of your elbow where your arm bends.
Yeah, that thing. You know that trick, listeners, that you throw something up in the air and you pop it off that part of your body.
Yeah.
That's Lloyd's favorite trick, apparently, because he was either practicing for a circus audition or trying to impress me.
I was trying to impress her with my...
your prowess of catching things that you pop out of your
inner elbow.
Yeah. But the best part was we were in the water bottle aisle with, like, fortunately, plastic dinnerware. You popped one that got away from you.
Yeah, I popped up a water bottle, and it popped up in the air, and then I tried to catch it, and it was just bouncing around in my hands. Then it hit the floor, and then bounced into a bunch of plates. The plates fell onto the floor.
And there was a woman right beside them.
She was right beside him, and she obviously knew what was going on, but she played it straight.
Like she did. I was impressed. Yeah. I mean, I was cracking up. It was very... amusing, it was very entertaining. I'll say, I'll use that adjective.
Yeah, because I mean, the other thing is, like, I was very careful going after the bottle, not to bump into the lady.
Well, your head was like right beside her butt, I think.
Yeah, that could have been a problem.
Yes,
we may have been asked to leave a little earlier.
Right.
But then we went and sat it in the chat set.
Yeah, we did. That was nice.
Yeah,
I actually forgot I was in Target for a while.
Yeah,
I felt like we were just chatting until that announcement that was like, the store will be closing in 30 minutes. Oh, wait, we're not at somebody's backyard. We're in Target.
Yep. Then we went to Target the next day.
That's right. We sure did.
And you bought some patio furniture.
I did, so that we could sit on my porch.
Yep, and chat.
So that's how it all began.
Yep, Target.
We like Target. We like our Target.
Well, that was the East Liberty Target, which is, in my opinion, a better Target
than ours here. Yeah, it is. But we still go there sometimes.
Because they have a pharmacy.
Yeah, and my eye center.
Yeah, they have the optical place.
I get my glasses there.
Yeah, and
and a parking garage.
And a parking garage. As a matter of fact, the last time I was at that Target...
Where'd you go after?
To get my hair cut.
Oh my gosh, let me tell a funny story.
Okay.
We were near the Target. We parked up in the thing by the Chipotle up there, and I was going to run down to the slice of Broadway, but there was a security guard right at the edge of the parking lot, and I was just going to run down and grab the pizza, but I started to walk that way, and I'm walking right at him, and I turn around, and I walk back to the car to pretend like I'm telling you, don't forget to get whatever, and I was like, you better get out of the car and go into the liquor store or something, because there's a security guard there, and he's going to know that we're just parking here to get the pizza. I come back with the pizza and you're walking out of the liquor store on your cell phone, big gestures with your arms, like pretending to have a conversation.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Well, you were down at the other end of the lot because I was supposed to come pick you up. You had the pizza, I was supposed to come pick you up. I think I was actually talking out loud.
Oh, yeah.
Flailing my arms saying, oh, I can't believe they don't have it. This is ridiculous. This is why we need to have liquor stores all over the place instead of these state stores and all this stuff. I was saying that.
Right. And that's why you took too long to come pick me up, because your skit took too long.
Hey, did I get a ticket?
No, you didn't.
Did I get towed?
No, you didn't.
Did we eat pizza that night?
Yes. And did you get an Academy Award for the best irate customer performance? Yes, you did.
I did. There actually should be like a category for that.
Yeah. Well, you've done that before.
Yeah.
The whole phone thing.
One time I was at like a street fair. I saw someone I didn't want to talk to, so I pretended I was on my phone. But then my phone rang.
Yeah, that happens. You got to put it on silent, honey.
Yeah.
Either that or dial for information or something. Some automated message that's just going to talk.
This is like early cell phone days for me,
So you didn't have it all down pat yet.
Yeah. So
You're slick like that, honey. Nice and cool.
Sometimes not.
All right, so this week I made barbecue sesame sweet potatoes from BBC Good Food.
BBC, like British Broadcasting Corporation?
Well, apparently, yes. And let me tell you, that caused a slight glitch in the recipe.
Why is that?
Well, because it said barbecue sesame sweet potatoes. And so I misunderstood the meaning of the recipe until I got to step 1 and it said light a lidded barbecue. And that's when I realized that what they meant by barbecue and what I thought the recipe meant by barbecue were two completely different things.
So you thought barbecue as in what?
Barbecue sauce.
That's it?
Yeah.
Like not on a barbecue?
Not on the grill, no.
Huh. Yeah, that's weird. I mean, you don't think of like England as like people barbecuing outside.
I don't know what I thought when I saw the recipe. I just thought I have most of the ingredients. I think I just had to pick up, I had to pick up a couple things, but I thought it sounded good. I like sweet potatoes. I didn't realize how adverse you were to them.
Yeah, it's a texture thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so the texture of a sweet potato is weird. In a way, like kind of stringy, almost like pumpkin-y.
I can see what you're saying there. If you would bake a sweet potato and bake a regular potato, the texture is a little bit different. But I like sweet potato wedges on things. And I think I've made them for you before, and I thought for some reason you liked them. Maybe you were just being polite.
I think I fed them to Lucky.
Probably. That very well could have been under the table, right?
Yeah, or I said, can you hand me a bunch of ketchup and mayonnaise and salt and pepper and something else to cover up the taste of the sweet potatoes.
Really? You don't like the taste? I didn't really.
I don't think it's that bad, but it's just a weird texture thing for me. Even if it's fried, like a French fry or like a wedge or something, I still think of the texture. It's hard for me to get over that. Kind of like cottage cheese.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you put it in the lasagna.
Yeah.
And I think of it sometimes when I'm eating the lasagna.
Right.
But then I asked if you could half it and then put the other half, what was it?
Ricotta.
Ricotta, yeah.
Well, here's what we did. Did I ever make a full cottage one for you?
Yeah,
I did.
you did.
Okay. Because that's the way I prefer it. But you prefer the full ricotta. But then we did the half-C thing, and I thought it was the best yet, and I was pretty sure that you thought it was pretty good, too.
No, it was really, really good.
Yeah. So you're okay with the texture as long as it's not full-on cottage?
Yeah, because when I was a kid, the dessert would be cottage cheese and cantaloupe.
Yum. I love that.
Not so much for me, though.
I know.
I cannot stand cantaloupe. I cannot stand cottage cheese, especially looking at it. So my mom would always make me Jell-O.
Yeah.
And they would be eating cottage cheese and cantaloupe.
I have to say, I had cottage cheese and cantaloupe twice this week. The one day I did it at work, so I had cut the cantaloupe and put the cottage cheese in, and the cut cantaloupe and the cottage cheese, everything got kind of runny, and I thought of you when I was eating my lunch because it was a little gross looking. As I was eating it, I almost couldn't get it down just because of the way it looked.
So you thought of me when you saw something that was gross looking. Excellent.
I thought of you because I know how much you hate cottage cheese, but that is pretty funny.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's why I thought of you. I don't know. I also felt like I was going to puke, so maybe that's why I thought of you.
That very well could be as well.
That's not true, guys. We're joking. What was I talking about? Oh, the sweet potatoes and how I was a little confused because I thought it was in the oven. Although they did have oven directions, which was good.
Would it be in what do you call it, the bottom,
broiling?
Broiling?
No, it wasn't broiling, fortunately, but we broil on the top with our oven. But anyhow, so what I did was I halved the recipe. I used 3 sweet potatoes, cut them up like wedges, put them with a little bit of vegetable oil, and I put them in the oven. The problem also with using a BBC recipe is you have to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit, so I found a converter on the internet, and it looked like they should be cooked at 356 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's what I did. I did 356, said to cook them for 25 minutes.
356?
Yeah.
Like if it was 357, it would have burned everything?
The conversion added to 356. If I were a normal person, I would have just put 350 because, that's probably what they meant. But on our new oven, you can actually type in 356. So I typed in 356 because it made me giggle.
You know, cars, you can do Celsius or Fahrenheit.
For the temperature outside?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, but I assume that you can.
Well, you know, I grew up in Detroit, or just outside of Detroit, but so I was actually pretty decent at the
conversion.
Yeah, at the conversion. Yeah, and only because you know we'd listen to a lot of Canadian radio.
Yeah.
So they would say what the temperature was in Celsius, but we knew what the temperature was in Fahrenheit. So you'd always just kind of figure it out because after so long. You would always be like, oh, yeah, okay.
So if I would have said these need to be baked between 160 to 180 degrees Celsius, would you have known about 350?
Yeah, 353.
356.
Oh, that's right. Got me.
Got you. Anyhow, so while they're cooking at the 356 in the oven, I am making the sauce, which I thought was the barbecue sauce. You use ginger, garlic, soy sauce, lime juice, mix it all together. I think you used actually a little bit of vegetable oil in the sauce too.
Okay.
Then once you pull the sweet potatoes out of the oven, it says you're supposed to baste them with this sauce. And then you put it back in the oven, bake it for another 30 to 40 minutes, basting them every 10 minutes. I didn't have really a lot of juice to kind of baste them, so I just kind of flipped them around on the thing for a while.
Okay.
Pulled them out at the end. It said when they're kind of sticky from the sauce and you put on sesame seeds or chopped peanuts. I chose the sesame seeds. I opted not to do the chopped peanuts, and I used white sesame seeds even though it said black was preferred, but I could only find white.
I didn't know there was a choice in sesame seeds.
I didn't either.
Well, now we know.
No.
I mean, do they really taste that different? I wonder.
I'm not sure, but all I could find on the grocery order was white sesame seeds, so that's what I used, and that was fine. The other thing I was supposed to do was cut up a chili pepper and some green onions to put on top. Couldn't find a chili pepper on the order. I ordered a poblano pepper. I was gonna slice that up and slice up the green onions, but I made a mistake and I used all the green onions when I made Aunt Faye's chimichangas for a second time. I forgot I was saving the green onions for this recipe, so...
Hey, those chimichangas were excellent, so...
Yeah.
You know, I'm not bummed out about that.
Yeah, I'm not either, because actually, it's not that I didn't like the sweet potatoes. It's just that for all the effort that I had to put in between mixing that special sauce and like taking them in and out of the oven and converting the Celsius to Fahrenheit and, you know, every 10 minutes flipping them around, to me they just tasted like the regular sweet potatoes that all I do is slice them up, put some olive oil on and salt and pepper. And it didn't really enhance the flavor. They were good, but like I felt like for having ginger and soy sauce and all these things that like are very flavorful, I didn't feel like the sweet potatoes tasted that different to me.
Well, you know, one good thing about it is you learn a little bit about the conversion chart. And, you know, and you learned also that in England, they barbecue.
That's right, on their grills.
Yeah, so, you know, sometimes you learn something from this show.
That's right, exactly. Sometimes you learn, if you pull a recipe from the BBC, it might not be as what it appears.
Yes. BBC. Now, which BBC was it?
Good Food. It was BBC Good Food.
So it's not from like BBC 1 or 2 or 3 or 4?
It was just bbcgoodfood.com.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a TV show. It's just
no
web-based.
So actually, you know, because I wasn't sure about this recipe, it kind of disappointed me a little bit. I thought the last time when I recorded with, it was my sister actually, when she was baking the salmon and Erin, I forgot to say that this was going to be the recipe because Wendy was on and we were talking about the fish and, you know, it was just when there's a guest on like you today, sometimes I forget things. I forgot to mention it. So I almost thought, you know what? The recipe didn't really turn out how I wanted it to. Maybe I'll just pick a new recipe. But I decided to give this guy a chance. I felt like the listeners really needed that lesson in learning about if you pick a recipe from the BBC, you might have to figure things out as you go.
So I remember you were recording about the salmon dish.
Yeah.
So I remember I showed you that clip, that Monty Python clip
right.
from The Meaning of Life. Mm-hmm. where there's like a dinner party.
Right.
And the Grim Reaper shows up, pretty much telling everyone
They're dead.
They're dead. And they want to know why they died.
Yeah.
So the Grim Reaper points right to the salmon mousse.
Yeah. Aaron, this has you written all over it.
So the people putting on the dinner party were very embarrassed because she used canned salmon for the mousse.
Oh, botulism.
Botulism. So, yep, that's how they died.
Yeah, except for the thing that I thought was pretty funny about that whole thing, aside from the whole thing, was they all died. But that one lady said, I didn't even eat the salmon.
Yeah, that was odd. But
So, how did she die? That's what I want to know.
Well, it's Monty Python, right?
That's right. You know what? That ties into the recipe, because they're from England.
And they were on the BBC.
Were they?
Yes.
Okay.
I could go into Monty Python for hours, but I think
we don't have time, right?
Yeah.
It's time to wrap up this episode.
Yes.
So let's say what I'm going to cook next time. I'm actually going to make red bell pepper hummus from Weelicious.
Hummus, huh?
Yeah. I picked the recipe before I knew.
Yeah. Hummus doesn't give me heartburn, but it gives me a sore throat.
Do you think you have an allergy to like chickpeas or sesame or something in the hummus?
Could be, but I eat like garbanzo beans.
Yeah. And they don't give you a
salads
sore throat?
and things like that. So yeah, I don't know, but there's something that gives me a sore throat.
Well, I guess you won't be eating this one because, you haven't eaten like one of my banter and dish recipes for probably maybe since Aunt Faye's chimichangas.
And I haven't gotten sick since.
Which reminds me, we have to say what I thought of this one on the rating scale. For ease of preparation, I'm going to give it a 3. It's not like it was hard to make, but there were several steps and it was time consuming. So I will give it a 3, average. For taste, I'm going to give it a 3. I like sweet potatoes, but I didn't feel like doing all these steps enhance the flavor anymore. I don't know. I feel like it would be just as good to make my regular sweet potato style. And for digestion, I'm going to give it a 5 because pretty much everything digests fine for me.
Oh, that's good. So everything works its way out.
For my digestion, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like Aaron said the one day on the Banter and Dish podcast, we're here for you from the very beginning to the very end. Thanks again for being my very likable yet very last minute guest.
Hey, anytime.
During Turner Classic Movies.
No, that is a definite no.
Thank you all for listening to Banter and Dish podcast. We hope that you had fun with us today and enjoyed this episode. And if you liked it, please tell your friends to listen to us. And thanks again to Lloyd for being my guest today.
It was an honor. And remember, you can like and follow the podcast on Instagram and Facebook.
So stay tuned and stay safe. And wherever life may take you this week, try to add a hint of humor.
And a dash of delight.
Then chat about an easy dish. You're making me laugh. What's happening? I know, it's fine.
Cool.
That's cool that you're doing well, hun.
So, yeah, I park in a lot sometimes, and then I go into,
Honey, we're not going to put this
East
in.
Liberty. Why not? Why? Why wouldn't you put it in?
You're not supposed to do that.
So what? You better leave it in. But going back to this barbecuing in England, I would think that everyone would have a oil vat in their kitchen so they could always do deep fried cod or something. Isn't that what they eat over there? Cod, fish and chips? Isn't that all they eat?
That's all they eat in
Actually,
England.
that's not true. One time I went to visit my friend Mickey.
Yeah.
In Folkestone, England, and his mom made us the most wonderful shepherd's pie.
Yeah.
It was so good. So I know they have better food there.
You can just say you can like and follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram.
You can like and follow the podcast.
Wait, do it again.
You can like and follow the podcast on Facebook and
Oh my God, it's so cute. Okay, sorry.
You can like and follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram.
Sorry. I hope I didn't mess it up. Do it one more time.